I know this may be a weird story for some, but it's my story and I told it to some and they didn't think so. So, my hope here is to share it with you and that you may see it as not being weird but inspirational in order for you to take on some kind of creative endeavor when you reach your later years in life. So, I'm going to tell you the story, a love story, between me and Black Betty here on the Swag and Jazzy channel. Have you ever discovered something or someone early in your life and you wanted to be committed to that person or the thing you stumbled upon, but for some reason circumstances got in the way or life in general in order to allow for you to be fully committed to the person or the thing that you found interest in? When I say a thing, I'm talking about referring to a hobby or some type of artistic endeavor you've always had an interest in. And in my case, I'm talking about a thing, not a person. However, there are plenty of stories and movies about people discovering a person in their life early and they end up, for some reason, losing that person or they go their separate ways. Not because anybody like passed away or anything like that, but more so because they couldn't just never come together because of life circumstances and just the demands of life just kind of kept them from fully committing. Well, in my case, I have rediscovered something that I wanted to pursue back about at least 30 years ago, more than 30 years ago, and that is the electric bass guitar. And now that I'm an empty nester, I can fully commit to it. And I want to just share you the story about me and the bass that you see there. I call her affectionately Black Betty. How we have become kindred souls. But before we get into the story about the discovery, loss, and then the refining of me and Black Betty, I need you to hit that subscribe, that like, thumbs up, and the bell to be alerted of subsequent videos. What I'm going to be doing here on this channel, the Swag and Jazzy channel, here on out, I'm going to vlog my journey in really becoming at one with music and learning this fine instrument called the electric bass guitar. So without further ado, let's get into the love story of me and Black Betty. Now, I've always loved music. and always loved groove. Didn't know why I loved groove, but when I heard something, I know what would attract me, but I never had the drive to understand why that was, why I liked certain music, and how it was constructed or made. So it wasn't until when, after high school, I entered into the United States Navy, and we were shipped out to sea into the big wide Pacific. And then one night, as I was walking on the deck, I heard some music being played in one of the ship's lockers. And so I kindly knocked on the door, and who did I find? I found a shipmate of mine, and we'll just call him, his name is Damien. And I walked in and I said, "Hey, were you just playing Prince?" Because Prince was a hot thing at the time. He said, "Yeah." I said, "How did you know that song?" He says, "I just figured out the chord progressions." And I was like, "Oh, what are chord progressions?" So it was that night. He taught me what a chord progression was and how to figure it out. And I got hooked. Because to me, it became like a puzzle, trying to figure it out. And because I like puzzles, I don't know why, I've always had like puzzles, trying to figure things out, how things work. I got so interested, I went out and bought myself a Casio keyboard. So that on those late nights when we're out in the sea, me and Damien can get together and just try to create something just to kill the time, pass the time away. He played guitar, I played the Casio keyboard. Or I was learning to play the Casio keyboard, let's put it that way. But something ended up happening to the Casio keyboard. My Casio keyboard ended up getting stolen. Now, this theft occurred after I got out the Navy. I was discharged and I had rented a room with a lady, and for some reason the keyboard came up missing. After that, I got out the Navy. I said to myself, well, maybe it's best for me to go back home. Now, I was stationed in San Diego. So after my keyboard got stolen and some other issues that I was having in San Diego, I had just about enough of San Diego, and I was already out the Navy, and I was trying to stay in San Diego to make a life, but it wasn't panning out for me. So I said, well, let's go back home to Los Angeles. And so I got in my little Super Beetle Volkswagen, packed up my things, and started going down the freeway back to LA. So when I got back to LA, I still had an interest in wanting to learn music. Even more so, I wanted to kind of pursue it just to see what it can make for me. You're talking about an early 20-something-year-old who didn't really have any direction anyway. So I told myself, hey, why not pursue music? And it just so happens I came across a cousin who ended up hooking me up with somebody that they knew who just happens to be selling a bass guitar. All I knew is that I liked groove. I didn't know why I liked groove, but I said to myself, hey, I'll check out the bass guitar. She opened up the case and there she was. At the time, I didn't have a name for her, but Black Betty was right there. We negotiated, we talked, I think we negotiated for $50 or something like that. And Betty ended up being in my hands. And I took her home. And that's where it all started. I bought Betty from this girl that my cousins had introduced me to, and that's how we came together. Now, trying to understand the instrument, learning the instrument, and my continued interest in studying music became very, very difficult and very, very inconsistent. I could not practice like I wanted to practice, mainly because a brother had to survive. And LA was no easier to try to establish a living than San Diego was. And I found that out. The jobs that I wanted were not hiring, or the jobs that I had to settle on did not really pay enough in order for me to be a sole survivor. And I wasn't about to be hungry and homeless like so many in Hollywood and just throughout Los Angeles have become, of putting their dreams in one bucket and wanting to make it in the industry of entertainment. Now I'm from the hood, but I am not that tough. I'm tough enough. I survived 3 years of active duty in the United States Navy, but this is a choice that I just did not want to make for myself. So I had to put my energy elsewhere from me being consistently practicing on the bass into needing to survive. Shelter, food, and clothing became my priority. And as far as the bass guitar, so I had to put the bass guitar in its case, not even having an inkling that it will be some 30 plus years before I can actually take it out and really be committed to it. It was kind of a sad day, but it's something I needed to do, and it's part of life. So with the struggles I was having in LA, and especially trying to get a decent job that paid a decent wage in order for me to be able to pay monthly rent and other things, and seemed like nobody was really hiring that would pay well, I decided to go back to school. So I enrolled full-time in college while working full-time at the same time. Then I met a girl, and we courted for a long time. So we ended up having kids. The first one came, the second one came 6 years later. We bought a house, and we then got married. Yes, I know, ass backwards, but that's my story, and that's how we did it. We're still together today. We didn't do it the normal American way, but we did it. So after the boys were raised, they completed high school, one completed college, and they were out in the world as positive and productive citizens contributing to society. We realized we were empty nesters. And with that, we decided, hey, let's get rid of some of the stuff that we accumulated over the years, stuff that we have bought, stuff we've never even used, right? And in the midst of doing that, guess what I rediscovered? And this discovery was made as I was going through one of the many closets within our home. And it was just a nice sight for sore eyes. Hadn't seen it in a while. So if you ever wonder why I named my bass Black Betty, it's not only because the bass itself is black, but I've always liked this song. It's a one-hit wonder by a group called Ram Jam, song done in 1977 called Black Betty. If you ever want to hear the song yourself, just Google it. The group, like I said, is called Ram Jam, and look for the title song, Black Betty. It was a pretty big hit in 1977 on the rock charts. So I pulled it out the closet, and I was excited to see it again. And I tell you, the minute I opened it and I looked at it, it was still as slick and sleek as it was when I first bought it. Let me tell you, I fell in love again. I fell in love with it again. And I knew instantly that this part of my life that I was ready to be fully committed. I was in love. I fell back in love. If you can recall at the beginning of the video, I mentioned to you that I've always enjoyed and liked music. And in particular, I'm attracted to the groove in music. And maybe that comes from being a kid in the 70s and the 80s, and we had more dance music. And what I have found out, fast forward in today, maybe since the 2000s, that you start hearing less groove. And so I kind of explored that. Even though I wasn't playing the bass, I was still interested in studying music. And what I've come to find that most music today in the mainstream doesn't have a groove to it, because nobody really uses a bass line like they used to back in the days when I was growing up. So now that since I've been feeling for the last 30-something years that groove is missing in mainstream music today, and it just so happens that I happen to have the actual instrument in my bosom to go ahead and rediscover what groove is, the architecture of it, the construction of groove. So it's just like the universe is something else, I'll tell you. And this is just so exciting for me. The real takeaway that I want people to get from this video that I'm making, and this is especially geared towards older subscribers out there, 40, 50, 60 and above. If you had some kind of interest back in your early days, some kind of artistic endeavor, whether it be painting, writing, sculpting, acting, whatever it may be, and you had to put it on the back burner because life got in the way, life circumstances, look at your life now. Look at your life now and see how much time you have, the freedom you have. And maybe consider pulling that interest back out. It may be buried in the closet. Your old paint board may be still there. Your old journals may be still buried in the attic. your old tools for sculpting may be still somewhere in the house. Consider pulling those things out and get yourself active and committing yourself to the particular creative endeavor that you had to put away because of the obstacles of life got in the way. You couldn't be fully committed. I strongly encourage you. You will feel better about yourself. You will feel fulfilled. And it's not about trying to make it at this point in life. It's just about enjoying the process and the journey as to whatever thing that you're trying to learn about, learn from. Because I'll tell you, beginning this new journey, and I started this journey on learning the bass, really committing to the bass in my late 50s. So I'm in my early 60s now, and I tell you, I'm enjoying it. I look forward to it because I'm always learning something new about music and playing my baby, Black Betty, my electric bass. Hey, so this will conclude the video. If you enjoyed this video, if you found it inspirational for you, make sure you hit that like button to your left. If you think that somebody can use this video to inspire them to pursue something that they had put on the back burner, hit the share button on the right. And if you want to be alerted of more videos to come pertaining to matters of such, make sure you hit that bell above and also hit that subscribe button. And also leave a comment if you have anything you want to say about this video. Maybe you want to share your story about your life's journey and how you had to put something aside, or because you could not be fully committed to it because of life circumstances. Because I think that we have all gone through this, especially if you're middle age and above. And I just think that I think that even myself, I'm not alone in this. I think there are others out there. So if you are those others, share it in the comments. Anyway, peace and blessings to you, and may you stay healthy, wealthy, and wise. And stay tuned for the next video on the Swag and Jazzy channel. Take care.